everybody, this is Elizabeth, and I'm here to talk about the last season of Human Resources. I honestly don't feel like it's going to be the final season because if you've watched Big Mouth, then you know that there are a lot of integrations of the hormone monsters and the creatures, and they all play an active role. I mean, we really weren't given a backstage pass to their world until um, season 1 of Human Resources, which, not gonna lie, I actually liked a lot better than Big Mouth. I mean, I like Big Mouth a lot, but I prefer Human Resources because I like the environment. I like seeing what goes on, and I love to understand the dynamics between the characters. This, as somebody who's fascinated by psychology, it's just really incredible, and it's also very intriguing. So there's some stories that are involved in this one, and there was one in particular that I don't think would have been covered in any other form of media. So I thought, well, that's really quite interesting, and it reminds me of something that my surrogate brother and I did not long ago. My roommate, we have a member of our photography club who's wheelchair bound, and people don't understand. He's a wonderful person. He doesn't become bitter about anything, but it's so difficult when a city is not ADA compliant, and they should really catch up. And for someone like my my roommate who has problems with his leg, um, he has a lot of issues, so it's almost like he's disabled himself. And people really need to take that into account when um, dealing with the public. And I think Alice's her hate for everything based on her mom was understandable, but I'm glad that was resolved, because hate really doesn't. I mean, it does get things done. However, it's not a good way to solve an issue. You need to move on. You need to move beyond that and return to more positive thinking, because who wants to be around somebody that's bitter like that all the time? It was a good object lesson, I think. And then seeing the little neurodivergent kid get the truck I thought that was very sweet. I mean, there were a lot of storylines here that were just very moving and very touching, and hopefully we'll get more of that in the next two seasons of Big Mouth. But to be honest, I can tell you it's not something that's gonna break my heart if there's no more seasons after these two. And it had its run. It's not really overstayed its welcome, thankfully. And I think that it's unique in and of itself. But it's just like another YouTuber said, a lot of the humor just, it doesn't really, it's not really landing now. And it just feels like a lot of it's inappropriate. And especially, I mean, I'm not a prude, but there's a little bit too much cursing. And a lot of that, I think, is that really necessary for plot? Is that really necessary for the characters to be this way? And I just thought, ugh. Yeah, yeah, I mean, I get it, I understand, but it just seems a bit excessive, and it just seems unnecessary and a little bit obscene. I mean, yeah, we're getting into some X-rated territory stuff, but sure, this shouldn't really. To tell a story, it doesn't necessitate cursing. It shouldn't. But I mean, the shows are known for that. The shows are known for being a little bit risque and whatnot. But I guess it has its place. But as far as I'm concerned, this was the best season. I cried a lot during one episode in particular, and I'm not going to tell you which. If you know me and know who I am, you probably know which episode made me bawl like a baby. So it was very healing. It was actually very healing for me as well, to see that and understand that the only way out is through. And I've heard that would be the third time I've heard that. The last time was on BoJack Horseman, and of course it made me just sob uncontrollably for a while. So I know this from experience, and grief is good. Grief is a very good thing to have, and it helps us grow. And you can't shut it out. You have to let it in. So eventually you will. A good article actually stated this. This isn't my phrasing, but you have to grow you have to grow with it. You have to grow around it. You have to allow yourself to experience those emotions in order um, to evolve. And I think that's what being human really is, honestly. And the show really depicts that well. I think that the creators of the show knew what they were doing, and it's very clever. It's very brilliant in everything that it does, especially with a lot of the writing, and a lot was actually quite funny. Just was glad to see parents standing up for their child, and I don't know how that's going to resolve, but I guess Montel decided they wanted to be a shame wizard, which, I'm totally not against. If they wanted it, then they should pursue that. I mean, if that was their one true vocation, which they really had a talent for. I'm just going to state it for the record that they had a superior talent for it. Like, Lionel actually said that he was not a protege, that he was a prodigy, that he was a prodigy, and he was a bit of a savant when it came to that. So I thought, okay, so now we know. The songs were outstanding. I got to see my favorite character, Simon, and I love Simon. And of course, there was an episode about him, which made me very happy. And it was kind of sad what happened in that episode. It was more about boundaries. That was a good one. It really was, and it did such a stupendous job at depicting that. But I'm looking forward to the next two seasons, and I will review them. I'm currently watching, even though Pride Month's over, I decided to watch the entirety of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. I never watched the original She-Ra. I watched He-Man growing up when I was a kid because it appealed more to me, and I like adventure stories. I like swords and sorcery and magic and quests. So to me, it drew my interest immediately because I was into D&D even when I was little and not really realizing that I was. So that hasn't changed. I'm still very drawn into the realm of fantasy and sci-fi and just the endless supply of good storytelling that it has. And I've seen most of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, and I really love this particular character. I'll explain more later about this character that I'm not mentioning in this review, because it's a little bit of a teaser. But if you know me and you know what kind of person I am, then it's overt which character I love. I mean, absolutely adore, because she kind of reminds me a little bit of myself, honestly, and how I become distracted by certain things in life. And I could see myself in her. I mean, maybe not to the point that she does. I mean, even to the point where she just ignores everybody else. And I know that's kind of like me, but not quite like me. But yeah, I get tunnel vision when it comes to my writing. So yeah, I guess on a certain level, I totally get it. It just, my fixations. But other than that, season had just tremendous song. I mean, the songs in this season were so much better. I loved seeing all the characters. They had a new Logic Rock, and I'm not a fan of Miley, but just for the record, I think that she did a splendid job. I thought that she was outstanding in the role that she had, and even looking at her character, I thought, yeah, that's Miley Cyrus. So it didn't bother me all that much. And she had a redemption arc, which was good because at first I utterly loathed her character, not as much as I loathed Tyler or Gavin, but I loathed her. It is she got under my skin a little bit. It just irritated me, but Emmy did too. So they actually had a bit of a revolution at the very last, and were able to make some very, very considerable character growth, which I thought, hallelujah. It made me very, very pleased. And the way that Nick Kroll actually presented all that, I thought was truly something spectacular. But beyond that, like I said, I've been watching She-Ra and Princess of Power. I'm not sure what else I'll be doing in the near future, but whatever comes. So I will keep you updated, and I will catch you on the flip side. So until next time, live long and prosper. Ciao, tutti.